And thank you for watching SME and Inspired SME FB Live. You can also watch us live on Shopee. If you have just joined us, do share this video or create a watch party so more of your friends can also watch us. And if you haven't done so, do like our page as SME Magazine so that you can be kept informed of future live sessions like today. One of the key challenges for SMEs is reaching out to consumers and customers digitally. This was already a major challenge for most of us even before the pandemic. But with the MCO and PKP, and of course, retailers, including F&B outlets, being shut out from their own stores, there's now an even more urgent need to quickly sell online. With us tonight are not one, but three guests who will enlighten us on what it takes for SMEs like you and I to get online and to get online quickly. Our first guest is Zed Lee, Head of Seller Management of Shopee. Hello, Zed. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hi, evening everyone. Thanks for having me here today.
All right. So our next guest is, of course, none other than the one and only Neelofa, actress, TV host, internet celebrity, fashion icon, and more importantly, award-winning entrepreneur. Saya rasa ramai sudah kenal ikon fashion kita, mungkin pun pernah beli hijab Neelofa. Yeah, hello, Neelofa.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Hi, everybody.
All right, and of course, as a bonus on tonight's Friday night, we have Neelofa's own brother, Akif, who's a huge influencer himself, besides being the CEO of Team Neelofa. Hi, Akif.
Hi, evening. Thanks for having me today.
All right, so we are all online right now. So Neelofa, actually, my secretary, Shahira, is a huge fan of yours. And this afternoon, when I told her that, we're going to be interviewing you tonight and moderating this session, she really go bonkers. And I didn't know how huge you are as on the internet until I look at your Instagram, and you've got 7.3 million followers. 7.3 million. That's unimaginable for somebody like me who probably has 73 followers. So huge, 7.3 million. Amazing. So why don't you tell us a bit more about your business, perhaps your background, and what inspired you, of all things, right, to sell hijab?
Guys, the line is breaking up so badly. I can't even hear the first question. Can you repeat that one more time, please?
Right. Can you hear me better now?
And now it's more stable. Okay. Sorry. So, can you repeat that first question?
What I was saying is that we go right into telling us a bit more about your business, your background, and of course, what inspired you to sell, of all things, hijabs.
Right. Sure. So basically, I got into this entertainment industry back in 2011 as a TV host and also as an actress. And then 2 years after that, I started my own business selling supplements, health supplements. And back in 2014, I started my modest wear abaya, and right after that, a few months after that, we used the same brand for my hijab line. So alhamdulillah, even until now, it has been 6 years already, and we are expanding and still blooming. And in fact, when Akif came on board, he basically restructured the whole thing, and it's getting better and better.
All right. So all of a sudden now he's the top selling hijab modest wear brand in Malaysia. So congratulations, well done. So Neelofa, kalau kita lihat, there are so many online marketplace out there, right? So I don't want to mention the other names other than Shopee. So kenapa Neelofa pilih to work with Shopee and all these other brands out there?
Oh my God, I can't hear you guys. Is it my line or?
Akif, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
So Neelofa, I will go a bit slower. So the question is, of all the marketplace out there, of all the marketplace online platform out there, why do you choose to work with Shopee? Is it better or?
I'm so sorry. I think the line is.
No problem.
The connection is very bad here.
Right. There you go. Did you see the question now?
Okay. Can you try one more time?
No, I'm saying that of all the marketplaces out there, right? So many online platforms out there. When it comes to selling your, oh, we lost Neelofa, so she need to reconnect again. So in the meantime, let me address one question.
I could take that question for you.
Sorry?
Maybe if you
Yeah,
if you would, I could take
Yeah.
that question for you.
Sure.
Maybe explain a bit more about our working relationship with Shopee. So we were looking to diversify our e-commerce presence lah. So we were looking for a marketplace partner, and we did not want to work with so many partners, but not maximizing them as a partner. So we assessed all our options, and Shopee stood out. Number one because of their celebrity squad, as in perks are the perks that come with the celebrity squad. It was too good to to pass lah. And then their marketing support is amazing. Their team really helped us on every aspect when it came to launching the business on their platform. And other features like the Shopee Live is a big bonus lah.
So, but how has this how has it been for the brand so far working with Shopee? Whether it's Shopee Live or just selling the products via Shopee, how has the performance been so far?
I'll give you guys a picture lah of how it went for us. So we started selling on Shopee in March, but then we officially launched the Celebrity Squad program with Shopee in mid-May. So during the launch, we did 6 figures lah. Like
Wow.
yeah, so it was considered one of the most successful launch for the fashion category, and we're continuing to see good results. So yeah, we have the Shopee team to thank for that lah, for being so supportive.
Amazing. So you can see the difference, right? So Instagram, 7.3 million fans, 73 fans here, myself. And I also sell on Shopee. I've got a ice cream brand called Frozen, based in Bangsar, and we sell a voucher on Shopee, and we probably have again probably 1% of that 6 digits that you have. So, what's the secret? Is it Neelofa as a brand? What do you think is the driver behind the success on this platform?
Okay. Basically, first, I think you have to build your brand online first. I mean, if you are if you are, a first timer launching on Shopee, the impact is not going to be that big. So you have to do all the groundwork first lah. So you need to drive awareness via, influencers, knowing your audience and crafting the right message, all the content on the platform which they are at lah. Basically, yeah. And then once we launched at Shopee, we already had people waiting to buy our goods lah. So yeah, so doing the groundwork before launching on a platform like Shopee is really important.
So would you consider this to be an O2O experience, meaning from offline to online? Prior to working with Shopee or any marketplace for that matter, do you sell your product online via your own store and so on?
I think we were lucky in the sense that from the get-go we were online and offline. So it's actually in our DNA already. Like when customers, purchase from us, they would associate us with both our online and offline channels. So it was not as difficult for us to break into the online channels lah.
All right, that's very interesting. So as a percentage, like, just as a guideline, so that we understand a bit better, so that SMEs also understand it better. Right now, if you think, right, what percentage of your business and your sales would have come from your online channel?
A couple of years back, it was about 5%. The most recent financial year was about 15%, and we think it will grow another 5-10% for the next year.
So with this, eventually, you think selling online completely with its to exclusively sell online, and you no longer need the physical spaces. Would this happen, you think, in the foreseeable future for your brand?
No way. No, not. I think it will never go away, but the usage of offline space will definitely evolve. You cannot view offline, physical stores as a channel to to just do sales. If you go for that approach, I think long term you will not win. I think it has to be a medium where you connect with your audience and build brand awareness and build credibility. I think that's how you can fully utilize your offline channels. Build that trust with your customer.
Neelofa, you can hear us now, or
It's better now.
much better? I think it's the internet, right? Connecting may not be so good. So what do you think, Neelofa? You understand your customer better than anybody else. And this is important, right? Because a lot of SMEs will say, look, we can also sell hijab, but we are not Neelofa, right? So no matter how we try, we are not going to be as successful as her. How much do you think your celebrity status help in driving sales, and how much other things, your branding, your channel development, your product development, your sales processes actually help? How do you balance these two?
Yeah, people always think that when you're a celebrity, it's always easy for you to do any kind of businesses, but that's not true. That's not totally true, because yes, you have the platform for you to promote and make people, go on the page and buy and click buy straight away. But that is not, how do I say, if to sustain, to maintain a business is actually difficult for everybody. Same goes to celebrities as well. So that's why, to me, it's very important to have a very strong team that understands the process as a whole, not just like Neelofa, for us also, we had to restructure our operation, our marketing, our creative, and so on. And when Akif came, he sort of like strengthened the e-commerce department. Even up until now, we are still learning and also trying a lot of things. Like Neelofa itself, when we first started the business in 2014, the first year it was zero cost in marketing. We solely rely on Instagram and social media to sell our products. But of course, after 5 years, after a few years, I could see like, I cannot rely on Instagram anymore. We have to expand our reach and our audience. And also, in order for us to capture new audience, we have to do collaboration. Like now, we get on Shopee. We have to sort of diversify and utilize all kind of medium and platforms. Yeah.
I mean, if I could add to that, right? When people speak about celebrity product or influencer-driven product, they typically think of awareness or customer acquisition. Yes, that becomes very easy, right? Because you have the platform to sort of like promote your goods. You already have your audience. But what people don't think about is retention or the lifetime value of a customer. So this is actually the 100 times more difficult than customer acquisition. So getting the customer to come for the second, third, fourth time is where you make your money, and this is where the real work comes in. So it doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or if you're the most popular person in the world, if you don't have the right strategy, the right plan for retention and maximizing lifetime value, then it's no good.
Right. So for the SMEs who are listening out there, so having a personal branding can only help you to some extent, but at the end of the day, it's really how your products, how you do your product, how you develop your processes, how you develop your channel and so on. All this counts. So there's really no shortcut to success, I suppose, in business. Zed, I got some questions for you. Of course, this is coming from a SME perspective. So many SMEs, want to go online, but many are very worried, of their products being commoditized, right? So you say, for example, you sell a light bulb, right? You manufacture a light bulb, digital light bulb, and you sell it on Shopee. There could be another 1,500 shoppers, right? Locally, overseas, who might be selling exactly the same thing. So for a lot of SMEs, they feel that, look, if I go online, that might actually dilute my brand presence and my branding. What have you got to say on that?
Well, it's maybe if I would turn the question around, right? Given that this same product is sold by 1,000 other people, whether online or offline, you not going online doesn't make a difference in whether or not the product is commoditized or not. So commoditization product is primarily not just a function of whether or not the SME themselves positions and how they price the product, but it's very much also because of the interaction of that product within the market space. There's one thing very important to understand in e-commerce, or I think in retail and business in general, is the idea that it's an ecosystem. There isn't just one player, there are many players. Some players support each other. For example, like e-commerce, we are supported by sellers to buyers to logistics partners. Sometimes these players compete each other, right? So what's very important to understand then is that not being on the in a market, for this instance online, right, actually then hampers you from controlling the brand position for your product. Because you're no longer there in that space to influence the buyers in that space, how they perceive your brand and your product. You're leaving it up to the other 1,000 people to decide what happens to that brand and that product. So think about it from that way. You're really going into the market, whether that's online or a new state, a new country, to go in there to position yourself the way you want to. And that's really how you control and build a brand.
So it's not just as easy as listing on Shopee. Listing on Shopee is just the very first step. So beyond that, you have to you drive engagement with potential customers. Of course, then like Akif say, right? How do you turn a single purchase into a lifetime value? You repeat purchases, and of course, each time you purchase a little bit more. So there's a lot more work to be done. So for people who has never done this before, right? And because of MCO, and suddenly there's a need to go online. How do they go about it, Zach? What would you advise a newbie, and actually somebody who has zero knowledge of digital? They say, look, I want to sell online. What would you say?
Go for what's free. Shopee is free. So the way we position ourselves very often is that we don't charge commissions, we don't have listing fees. We have some marketing options for people which can pay for. But in general, what that really helps people, especially very small businesses or people who are starting business first time, is that the barrier to entry is lower. You don't need to have $1 million. You don't need to have $100,000. You go online and you find something to sell, right? And then the risk is lower as well, because if your first business fails, you're not vested in a rental for 6 months. You're not vested from having bought a warehouse or factory. You can use this as a means to test your product, experiment, and determine whether or not you actually stumbled on the right formula. So that's very important. And now one thing as well is it's not just about trying, right? So as much as we tell people, the first step is always a try. If you sit down there all day thinking about your brilliant plan, nothing's ever going to happen. In addition to encouraging people to take the first step with the free registrations, free listings, we also provide free education as well. So with something called Shopee University, uni.shopee.com.my, and essentially we provide free classes, everything from very basic, how to set up your account stores, to advanced classes like customer service masterclass, sales masterclass. Exactly like what Akif suggested, right? It's not just about getting that first purchase. It's about, through that first purchase, delivering that experience that gives people that comfort, that endearment to your brand, that makes them come back and buy more. So that's all the free resources out there for you. Education, trying, market experiment. We can talk this more about a bit later. I think there's some question about what kind of products sell best online. How should I get started online, offline first? We can do that a bit later. But I think to answer your question, that's exactly a position and how we think about starting up the first step.
Right, thanks, Zach. Very enlightening right there. So now we go back to Neelofa. So Neelofa, obviously, Akif was saying, right, that even before going online, you're really doing quite well through your own boutique, as well as through consignment counters and other distributors and so on. So most users know who you are, what you represent, the products that you sell, and the brand value, and the position that you have. So why go online? Right? I mean, it sounds like an obvious question, but it's something that needs asking. Why go online? Have you lost?
Yeah. Your mic is on mute.
Oh.
Okay. All right. I'm back. So when we first introduced Neelofa 6 years ago, we straight away introduced our stockist concept. So basically 30% off of our stockist, and then we figured that most of our sales generated from our stockist, 60% stockist and 40% stores and online. And we didn't really pay attention to our online platform that previous years. So after a while, it was very difficult for us to gauge and quite difficult for us to sustain our business just relying on one channel, which is stockist itself. So that's why we feel like in order for us to grow, in order for us to explore other type of audience, we have to go online. Yeah.
Sounds good. But is there any feedback from your existing stockists that perhaps your activity, you're selling online could be to some extent cannibalized on what they're currently doing, cannibalizing in the sales. Is that something that is that kind of feedback you're getting, or is negligible?
We complaints from them because we have strengthened our online presence.
So it actually helps them, right? Rather than
somehow it helps them to build, to drive more sales on their end as well.
If you look at
Yeah.
if you look, and I'm not sure whether Zed will agree, but if you look at, say, the electrical shops experience, right? So a lot of small electrical shops, right? 2 outlets, 3 outlets, or single outlet. What happens is that people actually go to the outlet and they shop and they try out the washing machine, they look at it, the specs, they listen from the salespeople and so on. And a day later, they go online, they buy that that aircon or whatever online. So to some extent, a lot of people say, look, all these marketplaces online are actually taking away the business from the retailers. So I don't know, maybe Akif or Neelofa, or even Zed, how do you address that concern, from SME? We really want to get them on board. We want to get them online as well. But at the same time, we want to really, tell them that, look, online is the right thing to do. Don't allow all this fear to stop you. So have you got anything to address that? Maybe Zed or Akif?
Yeah, I think you have to know what are the objectives for every channel. Where online, the biggest, I think the biggest advantage of selling direct to consumer, right? You get this direct channel where you communicate with the customer. You get data, measurable data, what they like, what they don't like, from which region are your customers from, and then you get this very close, quick feedback loop from them. So this is one of the, you get to understand your customer basically. And then on the physical retail side, you can view it as, something to build trust, something to build credibility. So from my perspective, that's how I view it. So I think from their end, you need to have clear objectives for every channel. So it's not that if your online sales will cannibalize your offline sales or whatnot. You will definitely gain more audience for sure, provided that you do the right the right amount of branding and whatnot. But then you have to be very aware of what are the objectives that you want to achieve with all the channels, lah.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah, I think Akif is spot on. Channel cannibalization, I think, is a struggle everyone faces. But I think the false dichotomy in this case, right, is people thinking of online as an entirely different thing from offline, where they have to choose between online and offline. But really, if you think about this, right, online is really just another shopping mall somewhere else.
Right.
There's always this danger that your first shop in your first mall, you get a lot of business. Then you're afraid that down the road, and a mall set up, you start a shop there, what's going to happen? Some of the business going to shop. But exactly what Akif says, your overall sales ends up being higher because you now capture foot traffic from both stores at the same time as well. And this is exactly the same thing with online and offline. In fact, the new conversation is really about the new retail, right? People call it O2O. People says it's online to offline, offline online. It really happens both ways. And I can relate to a story for one of my merchants. So we're talking about small guys out there. I have a small pharmacy chain, about 3 or 4 outlets in Johor, and they were clever. They saw themselves as being slightly disadvantaged because their location is not best. They're not Watsons or Guardian, right? But what they figured out was that they can actually make this a positive, not a vicious cycle. What I mean by that is that in their pharmacy store, when a customer walks in to buy something from them, they say, thank you. I have an online store on Shopee. If you want, I give you a voucher code. Whenever you feel like it, you can buy. Even if not around here, outside, I'll send it to you home. No problem. Brilliant, right? So he's no longer dependent on the buyer walking in the store to get sales. But what's even more clever is that when this buyer goes online and buy him from his store on Shopee, he then sends in a parcel a voucher for his offline store that says that, hey, if you walk in the store, you can use the voucher. Then this guy goes offline again. So this positive cycle of people just keep buying from them because to the buyer, it's really about convenience and the ability to meet their needs at the best possible way. And that's the way I think a lot of retailers need to think about how this online-offline game comes together.
Do you see, Neelofa, that do you see any difference between the customers that buy from you physically, as in walk into your shop, and the ones that actually buy online? Since now you have the data, right? You can compare. Are they different groups of people, or or do you see a difference between the demographics, the age and so on, between those who buy from you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, initially we had like younger customers buying online, but now we can see a difference in terms of we also have much older customers also getting or buying our products online as well. Also, it is because of the accessibility or it gets easier for them, even for my mom, for instance, to shop online using like Shopee app or any other platforms. So, but yeah, the experience they get when they shop online, and also with the experience they get when they go to our stores are still different.
How do you replicate that, right? Because you go to your shop, right? Somebody greets them, somebody helps them to choose, make comparison for them, give them advice, and they can try it all out. How do you replicate that entire retail experience in an online platform? How do you do that?
Maybe I can want to answer that.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about different demos in different platforms, right? Online and offline. I think even for us, I think we can see a clear difference where the older, more mature crowd, they like the physical stores, right? And the younger crowd, they love shopping online. This is also because both of these groups, they grew up in different environment where the mature crowd is a bit more skeptical within, and they have trust issues like with online purchases, where our younger crowd is more they're more willing to try different and new things. So for them, I
Like
think
for me, for instance,
it's not a matter of replicating the experience, but it's just, how do you say it? It's not replicating, but the younger audience
it's like a
understand.
choice.
Yeah, it's like understand that online is different, and they like the convenience that you get with that. Not having to go out and buy. So they're okay with that. They're okay with not having someone to do a promo of the product and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like for me, for instance, right? I don't mind. Even though I have the store 5-10 minutes away from my house, like there's this one brand that I like that I've been one of my favorite stores, like basically. So it's this one of the stores is 10 minutes away from my house, but I still choose to shop online because I have the flexibility to choose or the option to shop anytime I want, and I can and I'm not very picky when it comes to I need to try this on and to see how it looks on me. So I'm kind of flexible in that terms, maybe because of the way, because of our environment, also because how we accept things for my generation especially. So it's different. It's very difficult to compare to the older generation because we are more flexible in that way.
Yeah, I think retailers have to understand that for the younger generation, they actually like shopping offline. They like the convenience, so all they have to do is to maximize the user experience, customer service, and just develop a good product. So what matters is that it's not having a salesperson attending you, and that sort of things. Yeah.
Of course, there's a lot of other elements. Zach, just another question then. This is that. So, what can you sell online, right? Because if you go to Shopee, what you see is you see fashion goods, and you see beauty products, pharmaceutical products, right? Vitamins. What can you and what can't you sell online?
Okay, fair question. So I think the basic principle is you can sell whatever is legally possible for you to sell online, right? So don't sell guns, don't sell drugs. That's straightforward. There's some things controlled as well. Medicines, for example, you cannot sell online. You can sell OTC drugs like Panadol, no problem. But prescription drugs definitely cannot sell online. So I think the guideline really comes from what the government sets in terms of consumer products. But I think a different way to look at this question as well, which is quite interesting, is that what else beyond the normal things can you sell online? Like what you said, right? Most people think sell online. I sell a physical product. I sell a beauty product, a dress, etc. But what we saw recently, especially during MCO period, are people trying to bring their business online, even though they're not normally suited in the stereotypical profile of what online style is. So we started selling health screening packages online. I don't know if you've seen this, but because of the health scare of MCO, of COVID, right? A lot of providers start providing health screening packages, and they didn't have the reach to do so. So we actually partnered with some of these guys to do some teleconsultation, and through that, advise people what kind of packages or supplements they need to tap on. In fact, some of pharmacies do this as well. They actually have pharmacies coming on pharmacists coming on regularly, advising people their buyers to Shopee what kind of products they may or may not need. So these are different models of doing things, and that's one of the things that's very interesting. The other interesting thing that happened more recently as well is the sales of fresh products.
Wow. Yeah.
Last year, if you go online, you buy primarily canned fish. Now you buy live fish, and it's common to buy even durians now online. MCO, right? And so rather than all these farmers wasting and produce because they can't sell, they started selling online as a means to sell. And exactly what Neelofa did when she did a closet tour. These people discovered that the trick to selling fresh, especially when it comes to things like fish, is to be able to show your product. And live streaming, Shopee Live, is a great way to do this, which is actually what you do. They show a product, this is for you, and then they ship it off to the buyer. So these kind of things have evolved a lot. And that's really the most interesting thing, which is what else can I do beyond what people already do right now? And that's where the real entrepreneur comes up.
Right, that makes sense because like us, right? Like myself, we sell ice cream. So how do you sell ice cream online, right? You can deliver the ice cream with milk, right? So like you said, so we do vouchers. People buy the vouchers and they come to the shop and redeem that. So that means that any business, including say hair salon, beauty salons, can possibly also sell online. But that's the voucher. But we need to think of a way. How can we go beyond voucher? How do you make reservation? How do you translate that visitation into something a bit more tangible than just vouchers? So I'm not sure whether Shopee is doing something toward that direction.
There are some interesting examples I can give you. But even before I go there, one of the things that you talked about, the voucher mechanic, it used to be a bit niche, but now it's very regularly, which means to say you buy a voucher and you encourage people to go offline. We did a campaign recently just because of this. After MCO was lifted, we partnered with a lot of the offline F&B outlets to do a Jom Cari Makan campaign. Essentially, help all these outlets restart, right? Because people just won't go back, so they buy voucher online and encourage them to go back offline to spend again. But some interesting models as well is bubble tea. You think that bubble tea is something you can buy online. But guess what? People figured out how to sell bubble tea online. So some of the very popular bubble tents, what they did was they packaged bubble tea for you to make at home. You cook your own pearls, 1 packet. The tea is 1 packet. They sometimes even give you their own cup. So what couldn't sell online can now sell online as well. And it's really about this idea, this possibility of finding new things to do. One of the other interesting things that's coming up is, you may have read about this, we're starting to partner with shopping malls to bring shopping malls online, which is a very weird concept if you mentioned this last year, because before this, a lot of shopping malls saw online as their arch nemesis, right? You steal business from me, I don't work with you, we don't coexist together. But I think because of the MCO, people see things differently. And I started realizing this O2O thing is real. And then we're actually going to be launching a lot of these e-malls coming up in the future.
Right, thanks. So Neelofa, you have got a lot of your fans saying hi. So many. You have Nerissa Ng, Ibu Zimbo, Haida, everyone saying hi. Hi Neelofa. We have Hashim Hussein who said Assalamualaikum Kak Neelofa. We have Anas Sain. So many who keep on saying hello to you. But we also have one question from somebody on Shopee Live, Kawan Bat, who asked, how do you become famous in online selling?
How do I become famous on an online selling?
Right. So this is
I think. Come again, sorry?
Yeah, correct. How do
Can I
you become
answer?
online selling?
Yeah. No. How do I become famous on online selling? So so basically in this industry, right, I was known as just a TV host and also as an actress. But 2 years after I entered the industry, I started to divert myself to business, and people started to recognize me as a businesswoman as well. So I started slowly, but it was consistent. So year by year, that recognition became stronger. And whatever I launch, whatever I sell, or whatever new product that I introduce, people will take me seriously. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that if you're an actress, or if you're a famous person and you want to jump into, or you want to get into business world, so what you have to brand yourself not just as a singer or as an actress, but also you have to know how to plan to make sure that people can also recognize you as a business person. So that was what I did 7-8 years ago, and until today, it's proven that whatever product that I try to sell, people will, they are convinced enough to buy that because they know that, oh, my background as a business person is already strong enough to make sure that the product is pushed, and to the maximum level, and be a successful one.
So building up that confidence and acknowledgement that you're not just a celebrity, but also a bona fide business person. So I think that is definitely have done well. We have a couple of your friends, I believe. We have Titi Nor Farahim. We have Anas Sain, who asked the same question. How do you do dropship on Shopee? So I'm not sure whether this question is directed to
Dropship.
or that.
We have not done any businesses for dropship yet. But we thought about it. We had a discussion about dropship, but maybe Akif has more to say about it.
I think this one is supposed to be directed to Zed, right?
I think so too. Yeah, sorry. So Zed, why don't you take that?
So I think to explain the concept of dropship for the audience who are not familiar with this idea is this notion that you can sell something to retail without actually owning any stock. In fact, you don't even own the supply chain. What you do is essentially act like an agent, where you sell something through an online store, and then you get someone else to fulfill for you, right? So you have a supplier that sends the stock directly to your buyer without going through you. And that's great for some people, especially for smaller businesses, because it allows you to start a business without a huge investment in capital costs. So in order to start a dropshipping business online, right, regardless whether it's on Shopee, anywhere, the first thing you find is a supplier who can give you good rates and then help you fulfill your online orders. Then what you do is you start an online store on Shopee, take these orders, and then pass them to your supplier so they ship to your buyers directly. So that's generally a model for dropshipping. Now the reason why it's not popular, it's getting less and less popular over time, especially for people who are more mature, is that the dropshipping model means that you have higher costs. Because you can imagine in a production line, the further down you are in the supply chain, the less margins you take, because you need to pay everyone above you a margin for that supply chain. So as people move from dropshipping, they normally start maturing and developing and bringing in their own goods, right? They start buying, and that's where the margins really increase. So think of dropshipping more as a first step for a lot of people, but an easy first step because you can start without a lot of capital.
All right. So for Neelofa and Akim, of course, we have physical shop. So when you receive an order, you're able to deliver directly. But Zed, for new new businesses that want to go online and may not have the facilities to do delivery, like last month delivery, what can Shopee do for them? So they got the products in the warehouse. Now they want to ship it to the customers after this. They make their sales. Shopee
can pay for your shipping. So one thing we're known for is Shopee is known for free shipping. So what we do is that we actually help subsidize the cost of shipping. So for example, anything below 3 kg within West Malaysia, if they use a JNT, for example, Shopee will help you pay for the cost, right? If it's very heavy, then the buyer pays extra. But what it means is that the majority of buyers on Shopee, right, don't actually pay for shipping. So all you need to do is take the order from Shopee, take your products, then drop it off at a post-laundry outlet, a DHL outlet, a JNT. If you're a large merchant, you can even get DHL, post-laundry, and JNT to come down to your warehouse to pick up the stock, right? Because you have large volume of items. But in essence, this is taken care of because we have this integrated process from order, fulfillment, to paying for the shipment as well.
All right, good. I've got two more questions for Neelofa actually, but I think one of the audience actually asked the same question that I intend to ask, and that is, what are the steps to building a brand online? So you have built a successful brand offline, right? So people know what Neelofa stands for, how your hijab looks like, your mother's wear, how it looks like, and so on. So how do you now build that same brand online?
How do I?
How do you build your brand online? It's a very generic question, but how do you build up your brand online?
Maybe I might miss whatever you said in before that.
So I'm saying that,
Can you repeat that?
how is it different between building a brand online versus building a brand offline?
How is it different? Wow. Okay. Let me see. I think so. The one that you want me to focus is how do I build my brand online, right?
Yep.
And how different it is if I just choose to do it traditionally, which is just offline.
Correct.
Am I right? Okay.
Yes.
I feel like, I mean, for the trend today in this digital era, it is very impossible. It's quite impossible for me to imagine to have a brand just offline, because I don't see myself doing that. Definitely, I mean, online presence is very important because of the reach, and also, I mean, as for me, when I position myself in this industry, definitely online presence will help a lot and make this easier, 100%. And I feel like let's say anybody out there who wants to start a business and wants to go online straight away, right? I think like Zach say, there's so many platforms that you guys can utilize with zero cost or maybe with minimum cost, and we should look into that first. Building, I think for today, nowadays you have to start with online, then only started to go slowly offline. But last time it was the other way around. So yeah. Am I answering your question?
Yeah, of course. So in short, given the way the marketplace is right now, there's really no differentiation between whether you're building a brand online or offline. It's all integrated, right? So you just build a brand, and that can serve you both online and offline. I think is what you're trying to say, and I think that is exactly what is happening out there in the market. Unless Zach want to add something on to that question.
So there are definitely different dynamics to building a brand, whether it's online, offline. It's really about channel. But maybe also add on some of the questions I see and comments coming in, right? I think the important thing about building a brand, right? Someone's saying, is it really about price? You need to have an expensive price or a cheap price in order to build a brand. But really, it's not. A brand really means that you are known for something. And you can be known to be expensive or known to be cheap. I'll give you a good example, right? Mr. DIY, very strong brand. Everyone knows them offline. And then the past couple of years, they managed to branch online very, very strongly. So I can tell you they're one of the top sellers on Shopee as well. But they're known for being cheap and having a lot of assortments everywhere. Is that bad branding? No, it's actually good. It's a very strong branding as well. So it's more about knowing where you stand and being very consistently communicating where you stand as well. Now the key then is, how do you communicate where you stand? And I think that's a crux for online, offline. But very importantly is, some channels people search online, right? Shopee Live streaming is an online engagement. It's a way for you to build a brand with your audience, direct engagement. Offline, you have people walking in store, you deliver an experience. That's experience as well. Some channels cut both ways, right? TV, doesn't matter online, offline, it's a way to build a branding as well. So I think what's crucial is not so much to think about what is an online way of branding, what's an offline way of branding. It's more about thinking of, where do I stand as a brand? How do I communicate this to my buyers, regardless of channel? That's the real way to look at the branding online, offline.
Zed, I'm sure you get asked this question all the time, right? So somebody comes in and say, look, I have no idea what to sell online. I have no idea what to sell in Shopee. So what is the secret product that the silver bullet, and I just sell that product and I'll get 1 million straight away. So what is that product on Shopee, if any?
It's a top selling product.
Right.
No, I don't say that in complete jest. What I mean when I say it's top selling product is that there isn't one product that will sell well forever under every circumstances. The marketplace evolves, and it's not just the online marketplace that evolves, it's the offline marketplace that evolves as well, right? You can think of brands that you used to love when you're young, When I was younger, Ovaltine was actually popular, Horlicks were popular. Now you
Right.
barely hear about them, right? Things change. And that's true for online as well. But what's very interesting for online is that there's more transparency. Offline, you have to go pay people to buy data, right? You pay Nelson, you pay Aeon to buy what is popular in terms of selling a store. In a platform like Shopee, all you need to do is go into the app, sort by top selling product, right? See what sells the most. And that's where you can start understanding what people are interested in. Now, the problem is this. The problem is that if everyone goes after top selling products, how do you differentiate? And that's the trick I think everyone needs to answer for themselves, right? But think about that. It gives you insights about selling stuff, but you may or may not want to sell exactly the same thing. If you do, you need to differentiate yourselves. And very often that is through experience, customer experience.
Right, that makes sense. Neelofa, I do have a question. How do you come up with all these ideas, right? What to sell, the design that you come out, where does all this inspiration come from in terms of the design, the product range, and so on?
Right. I don't do that on my own. Obviously, I have a team for that. But they engage with me very closely in every campaign and every design that they propose. I will give my opinion, and I will contribute a lot to every single piece that we sell, even up to today. And Akif also heavily involved in that as well, even though he is operating almost every department. But when it comes to designing, when it comes to marketing, he basically been contributing a lot as well. So not just for me, but I honestly with the Neelofa, my involvement is more on creative and marketing, and that's what I enjoy the most. So it's also because of my background in entertainment industry. So yeah.
So in short, nothing gets the logo of a Neelofa until you sign off on it, right? You say, okay, this represents a brand. So you say, okay, approve. We sell this, right?
Yeah, I mean, me, Akif, and my other sister, like three of us.
All right. So Neelofa and Akif, how do you deal with, obviously, as a product get more and more popular and more desirable, everybody who wants a hijab say, look, you must buy Neelofa, right? So how do you, obviously then you have this problem of counterfeit products, right? People who think that they are, that Neelofa may not be, they may not even be your stockists, or they be your stockists, but selling, products that they claim is yours. How do you address that, both physically as well as online?
I mean, there are some measures that you can take, right? But then counterfeiting problems will never go away, because it's apparent in prominent brands as well, like global brands. So I think the secret to dealing with counterfeit is not dealing with them, unless they're our partners.
On creating and move forward.
Yeah, unless they're our partners, then we have to deal with it. But if it's a third party where we don't know who they are, we're not associated with them, it's actually more costly to go after each and every one of them. What you can do on your for your own brand is to continuously innovate, so they can only pick up what you left behind.
To keep on creating, also keep on adding values to your product, so they couldn't keep up with what we are creating. Yeah.
Because even at Neelofa, we're constantly, even though if we have a hit product, right, we continuously look at, okay, for next season, where do we tweak, where do we add value? As small as, for example, like recently we released our prayer mat. Tens of thousands of units sold out in a couple of days. So that was a result of looking at our previous launch and see what value we can add, even as little as a thickness of the mat, or the material being used. So these things you have to continuously innovate, so that these guys don't have won't be able to catch up with you lah.
Right. They can always copy what you already have in the market, but they can never copy that creative process, right? That what's next, in that sense.
Yeah,
So
it's very costly to go after each and every one of them.
that makes sense. So is counterfeit a huge problem on your side? I know the other side. I don't want to mention the name. You can find all kind of brands, right? Expensive watches that's supposed to cost 50,000 are being sold for 50 ringgit or something like that, right? So is that a huge problem as well with Shopee?
It's a never-ending problem. So you close down one guy, he's gonna start another store, and then it comes back again. So generally, the philosophy adopted as a marketplace was to be as open as possible, right? Enable as many people as possible to sell, and then from there you help build up the ecosystem, and you help build up our SMEs, our individuals' sales. So we make it quite easy for people to come online to sell products. And the challenge that poses is that then a lot of people come into you have counterfeit issues. What's worse sometimes is you have fraud issues as well. So what we found was that there's a limit to how far you can go in terms of stopping these kind of things, right? You catch them, you close them, you catch them, close them, make it a little bit more difficult for them to start business again. But what has really helped is the ability to communicate to your buyers what is and what is not, right? So very often when we see a fraud case or complaint about some counterfeits, what we do is we actually educate the buyers. Because buyers, if they are clear about what they want to buy, will go for what is real. And that's what your job is, to inform them what is real. If they are all there about counterfeits, no matter what you do in terms of stopping counterfeits from selling online or offline or telling them, they'll just go buy whatever they want to. So you can't change that. It's about making sure that your true followers are not cheated. And that's what we do and focus on.
Right. So they know that they're buying the real thing from you. I think that is important. Now, this question is for Neelofa and Akif, of course. So you have done well in a modest wear sort of segment, right? Is there any plan to go beyond that? Carrying the Neelofa name and going to, I don't know, whatever.
Akif has the best answer for that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think we've done really well in the hijab category, right? So in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll be exploring more in terms of other categories. You're ready to wear, your accessories. So we're expanding, the whole line, the whole assortment for the women who choose to wear modest wear. So we aim to fulfill every single need of theirs. So for the next 3 to 5 years, that will be our focus. So building a full lifestyle brand. Yeah.
So this will include skincare, healthcare, and so on.
Maybe. You don't know yet.
Can't tell, right?
Experimentation. Sorry?
Okay. So obviously we look forward to even more products coming from Neelofa and Akif. You both sound like you're extremely creative, very innovative in doing what you are currently doing. So we are about to wrap up today's session. So we have one more question that we can possibly answer, and this is from Fadlina Sukifli, who asks, how do you bring your product to stand out, especially in such a crowded space? So I think we may have answered some this question previously, but just to recap, in case we have forgotten, how do you make your product stand out among all these other products out there in the market? So Neelofa,
and that is for. Oh, okay. I mean, Akif can add on later. I feel like we have to always offer something different from the rest. Like Neelofa itself is free, is almost pinless. So we have product we have hijab that is totally pinless and also some semi-instant and instant. So always what is the how do I say the uniqueness itself, we have to highlight that. And even as simple as pinless itself, that can be, whenever people think of, I want to wear hijab, but I don't know how to wear, I don't know how to style it, so they will think of Neelofa straight away. So we've been highlighting that since day one, and it works,
All right, Akif, you got something to add?
Akif?
Yeah, so I think you have to start with the product. Whatever it is, it's a product, and you have to find like what Neelofa said, you have to promote a clear value proposition to your customer. What are you selling? How are you adding value to their life, right? That's number one. And then the second thing is your branding and your marketing. Who are you talking to? You cannot be talking to everyone. if you decide to talk to people in the early 20s, then your messaging, your marketing has to be crafted to them specifically, because marketing back then and now is very different. Last time you would just craft one big message and just shoot to everyone via magazines and TV, right? Nowadays it's more specific, so you have to understand, you have to have a target customer and craft your messaging accordingly. Number three is your pricing. So you need to be you need to understand where your positioning is. You want to be upper mass, you want to be premium, you want to be a value buy.
Right.
Then you have to price competitively according to the market, especially in today's age where it's so transparent.
You see, a lot of successful brands that we talked to before always believe that it is not the manifestation or the product itself that actually is a differentiator, but really the purpose and what your brand stands for. There's actually a differentiation, the differentiating factor when it comes to brands. Will you agree, right? What does Neelofa as a brand stands for, and would that be your best selling proposition rather than, right? You have the nicest hijab. People can come up with a hijab, better color and whatever. So the brand story. So is it something that that you'll be focusing on moving forward?
Should I take that question? Maybe you can add on, Neelofa. Yeah.
So
Especially the younger generation.
So there are two lines of school of thoughts. One that people buy products, right? So your products is good, they buy your products. But then there's another school of thought that say people don't buy product. They buy the story and the purpose behind those products. So which school are you in?
I think that's a part of it. Even if you have an amazing vision, you have an amazing purpose, like like Tom's shoes, right? 1 for 1, where you buy one, you give one for charity. But if your product is not that great,
right?
I mean, customers are not going to choose you. Like I said, customers are not going to buy your product for the second, third, fourth time, where it really matters. So you have to back up your purpose and your mission with your product, your marketing, your customer service. So it's one part of many different moving parts lah.
Right.
I mean, I would love to assume that initially when I first launched the brand, people bought the hijab because of me, because they want to look like me, because they want to wear something similar to me and everything. But after a while, I can't really apply that anymore, because sometimes I feel like, no, I mean, I see that people actually keep on buying my product because of the material itself, because of the quality that we offer, and also because of the marketing message that we incorporate into every design that we introduce. So it's a bit of everything. It's not A or B. It's a bit of both.
All right, very good. Thanks, Neelofa. Thanks, Akif. So we are about to run out of time for today's session. Thank you very much to all the speakers. Can we just go one round for all the panelists today to see if you have any last message, last advice, last tips, or anything at all that you want to tell to our audience, especially the SMEs out there who are desperate today to go online, who want to be successful online, but not overly sure how to do so. Shall we start with Zed, and then we go to Akif, and then finally Neelofa? Zed.
Sure. I think the biggest hesitation a lot of SMEs have is generally either I don't know, or I am not sure I'm ready to start yet. So my biggest encouragement is there are a lot of free resources out there. Shopee University is one, for example. During MCO, when we saw our SME struggle, we actually launched a seller support package to help them through that period as well. There's another one going to come up, so do look out for that. Those are helping with education and reducing the startup costs. But I think the most important thing is that you need to go embrace the heart to explore. I think as entrepreneurs, as business people, what we ultimately are most responsible for is how far we are going to limit our business or grow our business. And that's really our mindset. And once we overcome our mindset, that's where we can really go beyond where you are right now.
Thank you, Zed. Akif?
I think for SMEs, right, you really need to understand your business model, and you really need to understand the growth levers for your business. And you need to have a full spectrum of understanding in terms of how you want to grow your business. Because mostly when people talk about going online and building an online presence, they only think about the first part, which is how do I get customers to buy from me? But they don't think about how do I get them to come back, and how to optimize for conversion rate. stuff like that. So I think you need to take into account all these things. Don't be one-dimensional, but think about how do I get to come back? How do I get them to purchase, and how do I get them to come back? So look at these two factors. That's really important.
All right. Last but not least, Neelofa. Anything else to add?
I feel like, yeah, to all of you guys out there who's watching this, I feel like it's very important to start small, start somewhere. And like I said, you have to start with online first, then you can explore offline later on. Make use of your social media, make use of all this digital platform that they have nowadays. We have the accessibility to explore so many platforms now, so make use of that, and always have a bigger picture on what you want. I mean, on what you want to, and how you start the business and how you want to end the business. So not just about the start, but also how do you, like I said, the exit plan of the business itself. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much, everyone. So that is the end of our session today. I would like to thank Zed, Akif, and of course Neelofa for spending so much time, not only in helping guide our SMEs who want to go online to get online, but also in motivating and encouraging and giving tips how to do well as well. I think that is very motivating. And if there's any SMEs out there who are not sure how to go about it, feel free to visit the links that has been posted now on the comment section. And for those of you who has not yet done so, do feel free to like the SME and Entrepreneurship Magazine page so that you'll be notified of future talks just like this one. And if you think that our panelists has done a fantastic job, Zed has done a fantastic job, Neelofa has done a good job, and Akif has done a good job, please type a 10 in the comment section. Type 10 in the comment section so that they know that you're happy with them, that they have contributed to making your business and your business plan much better. So type 10 if you think they've done a good job. Thank you very much. And for all of us, good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks. Thank you, Akif.